Let's play a little word game here. So you have the plateau of Giza in honor of Ra. Now let's switch the letters I and A, and that gives you Gazi Ra. Let's put the Z and the Ra together. That gives you Ga-Zira or Ground Zira. Let's take a look at Ga-Zira, at the most important pyramid, the Pyramid of Menkora. So let's go to the real Ground Zero. Let's take the map of Ga-Zira and compare it with Ground Zero. 1, 2, 3, and the Sphinx. Let's put the two maps on each other and compare. Highlight the triangles and put it on top of the Ground Zero map. Now you will see that the top pyramid has a deviation to the right and the lowest pyramid a deviation to the left. So that gives you two different angles. Why is that? Well, I think there's an alignment here. For people who know my work, you know you have to flip horizontally the Americas and put it under Eurasia. That gives you the alignment. Okay, let's move along and take a look at the Great Sphinx. In Ground Zero it is called Oculus. Oculus means eye in Latin. Is it an eye? Apparently. But let's take a look at the Sphinx. Usually people think that the Sphinx is a line. But now I'm 100% certain that the Sphinx is the dog Anubis. So Oculus stands for Anubis. Let's take a look at the head of Anubis. Cut it in half. The inside. I can see the silhouette of the Anubis dog. I don't know about you. Another coincidence? The World Trade Center is a terminal in the PATH railway system. Or should we say PTA? Take a look at the two pyramids, the North Pole and the South Pole. What a joke. Parasite humor. At the memorial in honor of the dead. Oh, my heart is breaking. In the middle of the water you have the capstones. Or do we have to imagine a pyramid like this? That reminded me of some tricks to create a hologram. Is there an agenda playing here? That reminds me of the Spiral of Norway. Let's take a look again at the strangeness of this phenomenon. No. It was a missile. Sure. World War II. At that moment I started to look at ways to make a hologram. This particular video drew my attention because of the two lights, the blue and the red. And here you have the hologram. But the absolute mind-blower was this one. He opened a new gate. Take a look at it. And now it comes. Wow. Same story with a red light. Now let's do it with two lasers. Wow, This is absolutely mind-blowing. That, of course, reminded me of the moon and the sun being reflections of Earth. So at that point I thought, what could be the laser here on planet Earth? Seemed like obvious. So I started looking if someone had this idea before. And yes. So in that case you would have a moon pyramid and a sun pyramid. It's not quite clear at the Giza plateau which one is which, but you have two pyramids in Teotihuacan. One is called the Sun Pyramid and the other one the Moon Pyramid. So we have three systems now. You have the system of Giza, Teotihuacan and Ground Zero. So you have the two main pyramids, but then you have a third pyramid or building, which in my view is the control center. What do I mean with control center? Well, let's take a look at a quartz clock. A quartz clock is a clock that uses an electronic oscillator that is regulated by a quartz crystal to keep time. So I think these three buildings are the oscillators that are controlled by the quartz, in our case the benben stone. The second thing I noticed on these images, firstly you need a laser, but secondly you need a second layer which is holding the information. Well, big problem. I thought, there goes my theory. But as usual, all pieces were falling at its place. Remember, in my previous videos I told you about how they were creating a force field with the Solomon stars and they were creating a ring of water. Then it flashed through my head, they are making this water to create the dome, the flat earth dome. So they were right after all, but partially. Remember, you had two force fields that were counter-rotating. So let's take the Hereford map and put on the first dome, the second dome, two domes together. How would they react? As you have two counter-rotating domes, it would give you the result of a donut and a dome, counter-rotating. Let's take it a step further. Put the moon on its side and put a donut on top of it. Now the donut will perceive the light of half a ball. But how do you get this light in the firmament? Let's take a look again at the images of the laser. There you see that the dome is moving. Remember, this Solomon force field is rotating. So the tube is rotating. Everybody, of course, knows this child game. Well, you put it on top of the tube and you rotate it. Put a laser under it and project it on the firmament. Et voila! There you have it, the holographic universe. The way I see it, so you have the system responsible for Eurasia and Africa, the pyramids of Giza, and you have the Teotihuacan system responsible for the Americas. good question would be, if there is no dome, what kind of light would we have? Remember, in 1259, half of our crater flash froze. It took the parasites 300 years to re-establish the Ur-Solomon system. This period was referred to as the Dark Ages. Must we take this literally? Was there a darkness caused by a temporary failure of the dome? People sometimes say that the pyramids are a copy of the universe. I would turn that around. I would say the universe is a copy of the pyramids. The way I understand it is, when the parasites arrived in our crater, they constructed with technological means their own solar system, so they could survive in our world. Now they are rebuilding Giza in New York. But why? Is the old system failing? And what buildings would replace Teotihuacan? Well, I have a few candidates. What do you think about Astana? Or is that the reason they are building these Chinese ghost cities? Something else I found was the Egyptian creation myth. You have the two red balls with the dots between. That is the power field of the Solomon star. You have the circle of water creating the dome. But take a look at this form here at the top of this drawing. It is called the Akhet. But you also have an Akhet, but without a ball. You are not going to believe that. It is called Jew. So take a look at the side view of a crater. The crater with the dome is the Akhet. The crater without the dome is the Jew. So people who were living in the crater before the dome was installed were called Jews. So when they say Hitler was killing the Jews, they are right. He was killing the Jews. He was killing us, humanity. We are all Jews.